Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, my name is Dewi Zaitun Agustian, and now I want to presentation about three kingdoms in Islam. Okay, at first we will discuss about uh, the empire we talk about, like Ottoman Empire, Safavid, and Mughal Empire. So, what's the Islamic kingdom? So, the Islamic kingdom is a most powerful Muslim empire in this history, commonly known as gunpowder empires, like Ottoman Empire, Safavid Empire, and Mughal Empire. This empire flourished from 16 early and 18 countries, and were known for their military strength, administrative efficiency, and cultural achievement. For First Empire, like Ottoman Empire, was centered in modern-day Turkey and the Southeast Europe. Like it developed by a sophisticated legal system combining Islamic Sharia law with Sultanic decrees known as Qanun. The Ottoman legal system had three courts for Muslim, non-Muslim, and trade disputes. The sultans supplement Sharia, especially in public law areas like land, taxation, and criminal law. Sultan Sulaiman the Magnificent was known as Kanuni, the lawgiver, for giving this law. And the Kanuni is a greatest law Muslim. The Golden Age about Ottoman Empire, first territory of power. At the height of glory, the Ottoman Sultan possessed a vast territory spanning West Asia, North Africa, and Eastern Europe, and particularly Balkan region. Through aggressive military expansion and strong governance, the Sultan success controlling key trade center and important city, making one of the most influential empire in the history of Islamic civilization. The second one is government, system of government. The Ottoman Sultan implement absolute monarchy system like the supreme about authority over the government. In addition, the Sultan had a very strong military structure, include the elite Janissary troops and existence of Janissaries contribute significantly about stability and territorial expansion. So the third is contribution to civilization, like Islamic architecture. Sultan Ahmed Mosque, popularly known as Blue Mosque, outside the Hagia Sophia and the Fight District of Istanbul. Like this is a blue blue mosque, and like this one is called Topkapi Castle, uh, also known about Islamic architecture. And the second, the law of the Ottoman Empire. Ottoman law was sophisticated blend of the religious and secular legislation, where Sharia provides moral and spiritual foundation. The Qanun ensured effective governance and legal order across the empire and complex society. So, the end of Ottoman Empire is about rejected by Turkish national for Sultan Ahmed IV left Istanbul shortly after and the Republic of Turkey was proclaimed on October 29, with Ankara as its capital. The caliphate was officially abolished in 1924, making the definitive end of the Ottoman Empire. So, the empire ended through military defeats, lost territory, and nationalist resistance, and the stabilization of the modern Turkish state under transitioning from centuries-old monarchy to a secular republic. So the second one is Safavid Empire. Uh, Safavid Empire ruled Persia modern, as known Iran, and established 12 Shia Islam and the state of region. The Safavid combined Shia Islamic law with Persian administrative tradition, emphasizing religious authority in governance. Their legal system was less codified compared to the Ottoman but strongly influenced by Shia clerics. And the Golden Age about Safavids at first a territory of power. The territory include most present-day as Iran, Azerbaijan, Armenia, Georgia, and part of the North Caucasus, including parts of Russia, Iraq, and parts of Turkey, Syria, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. The Safavid territorial extent was shaped by ongoing conflicts with the Ottoman Empire in the west and the Uzbeks in the north, with borders likely settled by Treaty Zuhab, which established in boundary between Iran and Ottoman Empire that still exists till today. Second one is cultural renaissance. The Safavid era is considered a cultural renaissance marked by remarkable achievements in Persian art, like architecture, literature, and philosophy. Under rules like Shah Abbas I, cities like Ifsah, Isfahan became cultural hubs with a masterpiece such as Shah Mosque, Ali Kopuk Place, and Nakas Ejihan Square, showcasing the intricate the work of Persian Islamic architecture style. The third is scientific and educational advance. The Safavid established madrasah that become centers of learning in fields like astronomy, medicine, and mathematics, fostering intellectual growth and knowledge exchange across the Islamic world. And then economic impact, benefiting from strategic control over silk and road trade routes, the Safavid Empire revitalized silk industry and both between East and West. This economic prosperity spurred cultural and artistic patronage, strengthening the empire's influence. And the political and administrative development. The Safavid built an efficient centralized state with a bureaucracy based on checks and balance, reviving Iran as a major power in the Islamic world after centuries of foreign rule. And the end of Safavid Empire was about primarily due to internal weakness and external invasion, like Afghanistan tribes led by Mahmud Hotaki besieged and captured the capital, Isfahan, forcing Shah Sultan Hussein to abdicate. This marked the collapse of Safavid rule and as the Afghanistan took a control. The decline was accelerated by weak rules, internal conflicts, tribal revolts, and ongoing war with the Ottoman and Uzbekistan. So the last empire is Mughal Empire, like control about South Asia like India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. It balanced Islamic law with local custom and Hindu tradition. The Mughals applied Sunni Hanafi jurisprudence and were known for their religious tolerance and integrating diverse communities. Emperor Akbar notably promoted a centric approach to governance and law. And then the golden age about Mughal Empire is a territorial power like Mughal Empire covered nearly entire India. The territory stretched from the other fringes of the Indus River basins and west of the northern Afghanistan. The vast empire includes most modern-day India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and part of Afghanistan. And the second is system of government. The Mughal Empire had a highly centralized structure from system of government. It is divided into three main levels like central, provincial, and local administration. Mughal government combined a strong central authority with a hierarchical provincial and local administration, supported by military and revenue system to effectively manage a vast and diverse the empire. Third is architecture. As we know, the Mughal Empire nearly the entire India. The territory stretched from the Cutter Fingers, like Indus River Basin, and the architecture, like uh, Red of Fort, and then sorry, there's a Red of Fort too. And as we know about Indian most knownly is Taj Mahal and six a methodology and the first is integration of Islam and Hinduism cultures. Like the integration is cultures during Mughal Empire was marked by policies and regular religious tolerance, like cultural fashion, political inclusion, especially under the Emperor of Akbar. Mughal Empire maintained political stability over a diverse population and left a lasting legacy on South Asia's religions, like cultural and landscape. And then the agricultural and economics development. The Mughals extend agriculture by promoting cash crops like cotton, indigo, and sugarcane to improve irrigation system. Indian agriculture under Mughal rule was advanced for its time, with innovation like seed drills and sugar rolling mills, and metallurgy and craftsmanship. The Mughal workshop like Karkhans produced exquisitely jewelry, textiles, arms, and seamless metal globes, demonstrating advanced metallurgical skill. And then, sorry, it's Mughal, the end of Mughal Empire. The Mughal Empire ended because after the death of Emperor Aurangzeb, in that emperor became weak and due to poor leadership. So that's mostly internal fights over the throne and rebellions by groups like Marathas, Sikhs, and Rajputs. Then the economy problems, heavy tax, and religion intolerance also caused by people to lose support for the Mughals. And then the empire lost control most of the territory and the British East Asia Company gradually took up power. The empire officially ended in 1847 and the British exiled the last emperor, Bahadur Shah II, after the Indian Rebellion. So, all three empires interact Islamic law with a local custom and administrative needs, but different in religious orientation like Ottoman Sunni, Safavid Shia, Mughal Sunni with pluralism, and a legal codification reflecting their unique cultural and political context. The Ottoman Empire is particularly noted for its dual legal system of Sharia and Canon, the balanced religious law with practical governance. So that's all my presentation. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.